Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt. Jim Banks is a congressman from Indiana. He's going to be the next senator from Indiana. He's a friend of mine, and welcome back, Congressman Banks. How goes the campaign for Senate?
Hey, Hugh. Great to be with you. All is well in Indiana. We're off to a great start. Long ways to go, but the last time we spoke was the day that I kicked the campaign off in mid-January, and since then we've built strong support from each corner of the state, doing everything we can to clear the Republican primary field, and we're off to a good start to do it.
Now, I think the quarter ends for raising money. If people want to make a contribution to a surefire winner, they would go to your website, but I don't know what your website is.
Well, it's easy, banksforsenate.com. We appreciate all the help that we've received from Republicans around the country. Steve Daines and the NRSC, they've endorsed me. The Club for Growth has endorsed me. But more important than that, I think I have half of the Republicans in the State House, half of the Republicans, county chairmen and chairwomen around the state of Indiana who are supporting me, Hugh. And I think what we're trying to do in Indiana is it's the model for Republicans around the country. Bring all sides of the party together. Bring the Trump supporters together with the Reagan wing of the party, and that's what we've been so successful in doing in Indiana. That's how we're going to win back the Senate Republican majority, is with candidates who can do that, and we're off to a good start doing that in Indiana.
And Congressman Banks, I think you will help people down ticket too. Let me ask you about national security for a moment. I just had on Miami Mayor Francis Suarez, good guy. First time he's been on the air with me. Not Mr. National Security, but he did okay until I asked him whether or not he would make the Uyghurs a central part of his campaign rhetoric, and he said, "What's a Uyghur?" What's your reaction to that?
He needs to meet Mike Gallagher, come and sit through some of our long select committee on the Chinese Communist Party hearings, and he'll learn quickly about the Uyghurs and their plight in China, and how corporate America is entangled in these business interests that rely on the slave labor of the Uyghur people. It's so fundamental to this whole conversation about how we hold the Chinese Communist Party accountable for their bad deeds, not just around the world, what they're trying to do to America, but what they do to their own people, the human rights abuses of their own people.
You know, Congressman Banks, he's a smart guy. I blame the media in part that a smart guy who follows the news doesn't know about the Uyghurs. It's sort of like the 30s when we didn't believe that the Jews were being first squeezed and crystal knocked, then deported. I mean, it is the same thing. We don't know, or most Americans don't know.
And that's why we had the hearing earlier in the year, one of our first hearings before the Select Committee. And Chairman Gallagher had Uyghurs come and testify before the hearing and tell their stories. It was shocking to hear them talk about what they had been through, what their families had been through, how they've been separated from their families, how they're in the United States of America, but their families are still being persecuted and punished because they are Uyghurs who have gone on and speaking out about what the Chinese Communist Party is doing. So any candidate running for president, or dare I say Senate, the House of Representatives, need to be well aware of what's going on in China with the Uyghurs and the importance of doing something about it.
And Jimmy Lai in Hong Kong and all the people of Hong Kong and the threat to Taiwan. It is, I think, the most important issue in this race is that we get serious people. Now, Congressman, I don't think you've made a term limit pledge, and I hope you don't, but just correct me if you did. I want you to serve as long as you want to serve.
Yeah, me too. 6-year term, and God willing, I can serve many of them. I'm 43 years old, and I'm running for the Senate seat, Hugh, that used to be Richard Lugar's Senate seat, and of course he was defeated in a primary in 2012, but he spent 4 or 5 terms in the United States Senate and did a lot of good, not just for the country but for the state of Indiana. And with experience and seniority comes a bigger platform to do that, and that's my hope and my plan. The Senate needs a new crop of young Republicans who are getting elected. Tom Cotton is already there. You had Katie Britt, Mark Wayne Mullen, Ted Budd, others who are going to go to Washington, shake up the Senate, and be a part of the next generation of leadership for our country. And that's what I look forward to being a part of.
I also want veterans from Afghanistan or Iraq, in your case, Afghanistan, to be in the Congress. Would you tell people, remind them what your service was when you were, I think you were still in office when you did your reserve duty?
Yeah, I deployed I was a state senator at the time, Hugh. My wife Amanda, who you know, she was elected to take my place while I was in Afghanistan, and turns out that people liked State Senator Amanda Banks more than they liked State Senator Jim Banks. But during that period of time, I deployed to Afghanistan. I was in Kabul on the headquarters base there in 2014, 2015. Not that long ago, but it was under Obama as they were trying to, sort of as he was flirting with the political pullout there, that I think really guided the disastrous pullout on Joe Biden's watch. So that experience was pivotal and important to my service today. Serving on the House Armed Services Committee, I chair the Military Personnel Subcommittee, and last week, really proud of the work that we did in the NDAA markup, the biggest pay raise in history for our troops that we gave. That was a part of our subcommittee markup in the area that I was working on at 5.2%. Last week, we established the Space National Guard in our subcommittee. Very proud of that. Did a number of other things to support military families and our troops. Also, that experience that I had in uniform, to your point, Hugh, that guided the passion that I have for making sure that we take back the military from those who want to politicize it. And last week we had a very strong NDAA markup where we did many things like slashing the DEI bureaucracy at the Pentagon and capping the pay of anyone who serves in one of those political roles. We ended the radical electric vehicle mandate on military vehicles, which is unbelievable. This administration has pushed things like that. We stopped drag shows on military bases and ended a lot of other woke bureaucratic programs on Biden's watch that need to stop in our military so that we can project strength rather than weakness.
Now, Congressman, I don't like to shoot inside the tent, but I am not very happy with Senator Tuberville for putting a hold on all the promotions of general officers. There are more than 600 general officers in the United States military. We need maybe a few less, maybe a few more. I don't know. But these are career people. They've devoted their entire lives to the service of the United States. If you get a chance, will you take them aside and maybe explain this is just so unjust to the families?
Well, we can't hold up our military and our heroes from doing their job, and we're going to have a debate on the House floor. We went through the NDAA markup, but the abortion debate, which I'm unapologetically pro-life, is very important to me. We're going to have that debate about the abortion travel issue and the funding behind it on the House floor and in the Appropriations Committee in the House. And I'm hopeful, Hugh, that we can settle that there. That there's a way forward there in the House that we can put a ban on the funding for abortion travel, which is obviously being misused and abused by this administration. And put
All right, Congressman,
the same goal that Tuberville has.
Yeah, a different method. And I just hope you talk to him. When is the primary in Indiana, Congressman?
It's not till next May. And here in a couple of weeks, we're going to kick off the petition process. We have to get my name on the ballot, so go collect the signatures. That doesn't start until July 15th, and that process will run through the end of the year. But the primary isn't until next May. We've got a long ways to go. We're not taking anything for granted, but certainly off to a great start.
You know, I think you're going to be a 60% plus winner. I'm just wondering, is any Democrat willing to be a sacrificial lamb? Has anyone put up their head and say, sure, play whack-a-mole with me, Jim Banks?
You know, there's a few names floating around. Nobody has officially filed, but not taking that for granted. Really focused on the primary. I mean, Indiana is as Republican as it's ever been in my lifetime, and so our sights are focused on the May primary. I expect the Democrats to recruit somebody, but Joe Donnelly, who had this seat 6 years ago, is the ambassador in the Vatican. He's already announced he's not running. Other big Indiana Democrat names have said they're not running either. They see the writing on the wall. So the more that we can do to keep Indiana a safe Republican seat, the more resources we can spend to win back Montana, West Virginia, Ohio, other states that it's going to take to win back the Republican majority, and Indiana's going to play a big role in that.
Now, Congressman Banks, this is real inside baseball, but my audience likes it. There are a couple of media markets that cross the Ohio line, and obviously someone's going to be running against Sherrod Brown, and we need them to win, whether it's Matt Dolan or Bernie Moreno or somebody else. We need the Buckeye to win. Is there any way to team up on that multimedia or the multi-state media outlets?
Yeah, there really is. I've seen it done successfully many times. I live in the Fort Wayne media market, which broadcasts into Van Wert and northwest Ohio corner. You all the way down the state line, even into it goes both ways. Cincinnati media market broadcasts into communities in Indiana, like along the Ohio River. So there are ways to do that, and it's a great point. I mean, my campaign will reach out to whoever wins that primary. I've been in touch with all the candidates over there. There are strong candidates running in Ohio, so we'll do what we can to team up with them and make sure that we do our part to help Ohio.
Yeah, Louisville's another market that does that, but I want to stress to people, small dollar donations to candidates like Jim Banks go 10 times as far as Super PAC contributions. I learned that from J.D. Vance, and I've been in this business for 30 years, and I didn't know that you get the card rate, the best rate on the card, but the Super PAC doesn't.
Yeah, that's right. So every $5, $10, $25 donation directly to our campaign goes a lot further than it does to a Super PAC, and we appreciate that support. BanksForSenate.com.
Now, the last question. Amanda Banks is quite a wonderful person. I got to sit next to her at a dinner when you were chairing the Republican Study Committee. How's she feel about this? It's like, does she want you to win so she can take a break from campaigning, or does she like the retail politics of a House district?
The 6-year term is very attractive to a political spouse. So we're looking forward to that. We consider it an incredible honor already to serve in the House. We do it as a family. We have 3 daughters, 13, 11, and 10 years old, and we serve as a family. And we didn't expect this. Mike Braun is giving up the seat after one term to run for governor of Indiana, and we didn't expect that. So when he announced that he was running for governor, it was an easy decision for us to step up and run for the Senate.
I'm very glad you did. BanksForSenate.com. Do I have that right?
You got it. Thank you, Hugh.
BanksForSenate.com. Keep coming back, Senator to be Jim Banks.